I'm Pete Martin. Welcome to Mando Tips, and thanks for watching. Today's topic is we're going to learn how to embellish a fiddle tune, and we'll use Soldier's Joy to show how to do this. Soldier's Joy is a real common tune that's played in old-time and bluegrass jams everywhere. So wouldn't it be nice to know how to take that and embellish it? Let's see how this is done. You can get the music and tablature to this example at this website. The first thing we need to know is learn a very basic version of the melody. Actually strip the melody down to the absolute essential notes that define the melody and very few other notes. So we'll do that here in this version called Soldier's Joy Basic. Now let's look at the first phrase in part A. We'll do that here, and in the music it's called Example 1. Notice that in Example 1, most of the melody is quarter notes, or for those of you that don't know what quarter notes are, they're really one note per beat. Almost all the notes in here are one note per beat. So one of the first things we can do is, in this case of this melody, we can add scale notes in between to make 2 notes per beat, or what players call eighth notes. We do this in Example 2, which is demonstrated here. Now we can embellish the melody in a different way by taking and tweaking some of the notes to where they don't all have to be in the same place, but there's enough of them that are close enough that it still has the feel and flow of the original melody. And we do that in Example 3, which you'll see here. If we play Example 1, Example 2, and Example 3 back to back, you can hear how it pretty much is the same melody, just 3 different ways of bringing that melody out. So actually you can use any of those 3 anytime that basic melody needs to be played. Okay, let's now jump ahead and look at the ending of Part A, which will actually be the exact same as the ending of Part B, and that's in Example 4, which is played here. In Example 5, we take the melody notes of Example 4 and fill them in with eighth notes, or once again 2 notes per beat, keeping them mostly in the same place, and you can hear that here. Example 4 and Example 5 pretty much are the same sound, except Example 5, of course, is just more notes and more embellished, but you can hear how they define pretty much the same melody. Now we'll take Example 6 played right here, and hear how we tweak that just a little bit. Now that we have a handful of different ways of playing the A part, and you can put any of those parts together as long as it still adds up to that same basic melody of the simple Soldier's Joy, let's do the same for the B part. Here's the first phrase of the B part, which is example 7. Example 7 is pretty simple notes. Let's take and embellish that up and add eighth notes to it. Once again, keeping pretty much the melody notes in the same place. So, example 8 is here. The beginning of the B part and halfway through the B part is the same first two measures, so we'll just use example 8 for that. The ending of part A and B is exactly the same, so we've already covered that. So now we actually have enough material to put together an embellished version of Soldier's Joy, and it's played here. So the process of embellishing a melody is what we have just done. It's a threefold process. First, we simplify the melody to its core notes that define that melody. So make the melody the simplest that you can, but yet it still sounds like the melody. The next thing to do is take it a phrase at a time and embellish that melody, keeping those same core notes either in exactly the same place, and you saw a couple of examples of how to do that for Soldier's Joy, or in pretty much the same place where you can move them a little bit ahead and behind in time, but you can't move them too far. Okay? That, when you do that, you still get the same basic melody shape, and it will sound close enough to the melody that people will recognize it. Then the third thing you have to do is once you put together an arrangement, you just have to listen to it very closely and determine if it is close enough to the melody for what you want to do. Remember, there is no right or wrong on how you do this. You can totally go away from the melody and just play over the chord changes. The players who I've always liked the best have been able to take the melody and tweak it around to where it's still recognizable as the melody, but yet they come up with very cool little different ways of putting in there. I think it's a very worthwhile to try to learn how to do that, because you sure develop a discipline in your improvising that can really help in other aspects down the road. Keep watching for more improvisation videos, and make sure that you go to the website to get the music and tablature for the examples that we just did. For people looking for more information on other mandolin topics, I teach private lessons in Seattle and Issaquah, Washington, plus I teach Skype lessons to anywhere in the world. There's also a lot of free material on petamarpress.com and jazz-mandolin.com. I also have a number of instruction videos on mytalentforge.com. It's a subscription website where you pay a monthly subscription and you can download any of the videos that you want.